I have a very interesting story to share with you today. I don't know how many of you watching this have done this before or know what this is. I don't know how my age limits or age group of this channel, but I'm assuming it's older people, right? Because of the kind of stories that I tell. So I'm going to share this story with you. This is the time that I got caught in a scam through sexting. We've all sexted, right? We've all been there. We've all done that. We've all met someone online who we kind of hit it off with, but we weren't sure if we were ever going to meet in person. And we weren't sure if we wanted anything with that person. But hey, they're good looking. You're good looking. We might as well have some fun with it. So I start doing this. Yes, I've done it in the past. And yes, it's been amazing in the past. This time wasn't so amazing. So it started off okay. In fact, it was very, very normal and real. I was not thinking that this was going to be a scam at all, but let's get into it. So she messages me on Instagram. And at this point, that's not an uncommon thing. At one point, I would have been like, no, nobody just messages on Instagram. But it got more common. So I was like, okay, cool. She's messaged on Instagram. Let me respond. So we start talking on Instagram. And we kind of just mediocrely hit it off. It wasn't anything big or special, but it was like, hey, cool, that's great. So then we moved it over to WhatsApp and we started talking. And then I think we kind of got bored of each other. Now, this is why it doesn't feel like a scam, because it felt like she was such a normal human being. It felt like she knew exactly how to make the conversation go up and down, because then she wasn't pushing for anything. It was just a side thing. And then it kind of fell away a little bit. And as it was falling away, we were just like, well, what do we do with, well, I was thinking, what do I do with this? I don't want to, like, she's attractive, but I don't want anything there. And I don't think we're ever going to meet in person. So I was like, so then I started hitting up with a couple flirts, and then she responded. And then it got to a point where we were full on, getting naked in front of the camera and things like that. This went on for a couple days, actually, where she would show me a pic and then I would respond with a pic, and then she would show me a pic and I'd respond with a pic. And then every night in between it, every now and again, we'd have a message or something like that. And what made this even more real was the fact that she would post things on her story, her WhatsApp story, things like made these cupcakes and things like this. You might be thinking, well, didn't she scam you? And she might have been part of it, but she wasn't the scammer, which we'll get into now. One of the big things that put me off of her from ever wanting to meet her in real life was the fact that I showed her one of my pictures and she said I looked gay in it. I was like, okay, so what? And she goes, don't be gay, and she starts showing a homophobic side to her. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm not going to be playing with that. And then of course I played with it online a little bit, but that's a different story. That's not an in-person thing. That was the red flag, that I was like, okay, I'm not going to play with that. And this is important for later in the story, so just bear that in mind, is that she displayed some homophobic tendencies. Then we moved on. Finally, she apparently had collected enough data of me that she put this page together. She did a very good job. But it was actually a dude, but whatever. He did a very good job at putting this page together and giving me a threat. He basically took the page and he set it on all my social medias, and he said, I'm going to click send. And, he found all the people that are important to me, family members and whatnot. And he said, I'm going to click send if you don't pay me this ransom. And at first I panicked and I was like, what the hell is going on? Because I still thought this was a chick at this time. So I was playing it a little bit nicer than what I would normally, which is a little bit simpy at the time. And I know that. But regardless, I was playing it nice and I was being like, hey, like, don't you want to not do that? Why are you doing this? And then she kind of backed down a little bit. And then she tried to phone me. I picked up the phone. And no one was talking. So then I put down the phone. I was like, okay, that's nothing. So then I just left it. I was just like, well, I'm not going to pay this. What? They're threatening this and they're not even communicating to me about it. So thanks, but no thanks. And then the next day I went to work because this was a Sunday. Then on Monday I went into work and I went into the bathroom and I got a call from her again. So I picked up the phone, and this time there's a black dude with a Nigerian accent comes on, and he's like, "Hey man, do you think I am playing?" And I was just sitting stunned. I was like, this dude has been seeing all of my pictures. And the reason that's funny is because he was so anti-gay and anti-homophobe. He literally makes his money, he literally makes his ransom money by sexting dudes. It might have been the chick. I don't know if they had a team thing going on, because she seemed very much like a chick on the phone with all the stories and the way she messaged and things like that, but whatever. Maybe she did seem a bit too eager at times, so maybe there was a little bit of a warning sign there. But I mean, come on. Anyway, so this dude phones and I was shocked. I was in the bathroom just like, and then he says, "Now I'm going to send it all to your people." And I was just like, okay, dude, you do that. What am I going to do? What are you going to do if I don't pay you money? You're just going to send naked pictures of me to people, and you're going to hope that they care about it and that I care about it. So no, I'm not going to give you money. Thank you very much. And I put the phone down, and we never heard from him again. To this day, I've got the contact on my phone. I've never blocked it because I'm not sure if blocking it will entice him to release it. But that is the fact, is I've still got and I should just freaking block it, because who cares, honestly. What this story taught me about myself was to have more pride in my body. Being nude isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's a great thing. All of these stories happen at pertinent times in my life, and I could express that a bit more in the story. So maybe I will do that. The things I learned from the stories and the things that the stories tied into in my life. And this one tied into my life about, at this time, I was going through my sexual transition phase where I was becoming more sexual. I was becoming more happy to be a human being who has sexual desires and needs and enjoys that and embraces that, and likes himself and likes his body, and likes other people's bodies, things like that. And this threw in this curveball of learning of like, cool, you now like your body. And I realized that because I was like, if you're gonna send it to people, who cares? It's a body. It's literally a body. That's what it is. And people can say, yeah, but it can ruin your life. Yeah, but what if your boss sees it? There were a lot of people in my life who had power over me, who actually saw me in a very sexual way. So if they saw those photos, it wasn't going to bother them at all. Maybe it was going to bother me because then they're going to have more of a sexual drive towards me, and I wasn't fond of that. Nonetheless, I could have dealt with that, right? Like, that's not a life-ruining thing. As well as if my aunts and my cousins and my mom saw it, who cares, dude? They're family. Honestly, like, at the end of the day, the worst thing that would come from it is that they know I sext. And who doesn't sext? In fact, the worst thing that would have come from it is that they knew I fell for a scam, and that would have been the highlight of the story. So that's that. So that's the story. I learned a lot from it. I got through it, and I was never scammed in the end. So everything is hunky-dory. In fact, it was good because I became even more happy and confident with myself and my body. And since then, I've been working on myself, my body even more, going to gym a lot and things like that. So I'm pretty happy with where I am. I hope you enjoyed this video, this story time. It was a pretty interesting one this time. I'm thinking I'm going to start upping my game a little bit with some juicier stuff. Yes, we've got some juicy stuff in the past. If you want to go check it out, we've got the time I bribed the cops, the time I stole the stop sign, a couple other little fun things thrown in there in the past as well. But now we're going to start getting juicy like this, right? The time I was scammed in a sext scam, the time I went to an ayahuasca ceremony. I definitely want to do that one pretty soon, but I want to talk about my spiritual awakening first. And that's going to be a big video that I need to sit down and think about and have time to sit in front of a camera, because it could even take up to 40 minutes of me talking to express everything about the spiritual awakening. So that's going to come. Right now we're sticking it to these nice short, 8 to 10 minute videos, because that is exactly what I need, exactly what I want, and exactly how I want to start this channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Leave a comment down below if you've ever had a sext scam, or if you've never sexted before, because that actually would be pretty interesting to hear about. I don't know about most people, but a lot of people I know have, and would. So it's interesting when someone says no, they wouldn't, and why. I do have a couple of friends that have told me they would never do that, and why. Although I have a suspicion they've changed now, but whatever. Thanks for listening to the story. I hope you enjoyed it. We've got some more stuff coming out, so head over to that, head over to the channel, check out the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.